Welcome to the Zachariah Frank Show. My goal is to help you live a healthier, more informed, and all-around better life. To do that, I'm exploring essential topics with industry experts and bringing you all sorts of helpful information. We're talking physical health, mental and emotional well-being, spirituality, relationships, philosophy, and more. Unafraid of any topic and unapologetic about the truth. If you like no-nonsense, deep and meaningful conversations, you're in the right place. There's plenty to talk about, so let's get to today's episode. I have a very fascinating guest with me today. He's a near-death survivor whose life was dramatically changed after a near-fatal accident. As a former high-level athlete, he's a gifted runner with a deep understanding of health and nutrition. As a keynote speaker, he shares inspiring stories and insights into natural health. He's also an herbalist and a molecular hydrogen researcher. He's an expert in the benefits of herbal medicine and molecular hydrogen. As a frequency specialist, he also knows how to use frequency medicine for healing. As an investigator into the medical cartel, he likes to expose issues within the mainstream medical system. That sounds like a full-time job in itself.
Yeah, that could be for sure.
And he's also a podcast host, and he was gracious enough to host me on his show entitled I Am Pain Free, that focuses on natural and faithful living. It is my pleasure to welcome Rob Rene to the show. Welcome, Rob.
Hey, it's such a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for showing up, man. We have a lot to talk about. There's a lot of very fascinating and different realms that you're into, but all under the umbrellas of natural living and faithful living. And so let's start with some philosophical frameworks and foundations.
Sounds awesome.
Are those two things separable at all? Living naturally and living faithfully?
Gosh, they're so intertwined, right? That's why I love it. Just because the more faithful I get, the more natural I get. It's just an interesting, I don't know if it's the dichotomy, but it's just an interesting thing that literally the more I read the Bible and understand the Bible and more faith I get, the more I understand that, he made our bodies just incredibly complex and incredibly wonderful. And man, if we can give the body what it needs, the body does the healing, right? God does the healing. Modern medicine and even herbal medicine and frequencies, they don't heal. What heals is the body, right? The body is designed to heal. So if we give it what it needs and help it along the way, because we've done a great job destroying it, right? But if we can help our bodies get back to the way God intended it, I believe it can do incredible things. So to me, they're very intertwined.
That's beautiful. And were you always yourself a man of faith?
No. I mean, we grew up kind of what I call, a creaster, where we go, Christmas and Easter. So, and I remember my mom quoting something, the fact that we got done with a church service, and I was like, man, I just love getting out of church. And she's just like, why? And I was like, just because it's so boring. We were Episcopalians, and it was just so the ritualistic. I think it was just, and I was young, right? So I didn't want to do all the ritualistic things, and it was just like super duper boring to me. So I couldn't wait to get out of there, But man, I've really transitioned, and especially the last few years, have really become a researcher of the Bible now, and really trying to dig in and understand the true meaning behind a lot of things that I just had a surface level understanding of, and I still am a baby. Right, in my comparison to so many other people who are so just knowledgeable about the past and about what the Bible does say, and it just it's just fun to me, because it's like, wow, I could study this for decades and still not be an expert, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, there's so much to dive into within religion and within biblical study. It's very fascinating, but I want to understand more what brought you to the here and now and where you came from. And so you mentioned that growing up, your experience with religion was ritualistic, but was any of it lifestyle wise? Like, did you get to see your parents living in a way that you found embodied what it meant to be a follower of God or a
Yeah,
faithful
my
person?
parents were awesome in the respect that the golden rule was like super important. So they really treated other people really well, and they tried to do the right thing. And so, just from living where I lived in an area where there was a lot of like 50% of various religions, and 50% were of a Mormon faith. And we weren't in the Mormon faith side of it, but I just got, it was a pretty religious area. So I ended up wearing a cross. Had nothing to do with understanding what the cross really meant. It was just because I wanted to be identified as a non-Mormon. Which is how horrible is that, right? But that what it was when I was young. It was like, okay, I want to wear this cross. Then when people will know I'm not a Mormon. And then I ended up, funny enough, I ended up going to an LDS Mormon school for my career, not my career, but my college education. I got a full ride running scholarship to BYU. So, but I went there for some running reasons. I was real excited, and my goal in life was to be a professional runner when I was young. So.
That's awesome. I did track and field for maybe a week and a half. It's too,
I
there's,
love
there's
it. I
too much
love
running. It is too much
it.
running. I didn't like it.
Yeah, it is a definitely, man. I look at those guys in the Olympics, and just the dedication it takes and the years of training it takes for them to be that good is just, yeah, I respect the heck out of them, just because it's like, wow. I even love watching, the Olympic sports where it's like, ping pong or something like that. Even the badminton. Did you ever watch any of the badminton stuff?
No, I
It's a
haven't watched any of the Satanic Olympics this
There
year.
you go. Yeah, the Satan. It was. Yeah, I hate the opening ceremony. Definitely was ridiculous. But I just love high level athletes and sports. The
Yeah.
badminton one was fascinating to me because that little what do they call it?
Shuttlecock.
What is it called?
The shuttlecock.
Yes, thank you very much. So that thing goes 200 miles an hour when they first
Wow.
hit it. It's like 200 miles an hour is like ridiculous. So, but
Yeah.
anyway, it's just fun to watch them, people who are experts at their sport,
Oh,
perform.
absolutely. I have a great admiration for athletic ability, and I do love a good highlight reel. I
There
love
you
to
go.
check
There you
stuff
go.
out. But I'm curious. So, would you describe yourself when you were younger as having just a general disinterest towards faith, or did you get turned away from faith based on how it was presented to you? Because those are two
Yeah,
very different things.
it was really just agnostic. I really just didn't care. And that, it really,
Yeah.
really sucks, right? I mean, now I look back on that and I feel bad that I'm saying that, but it is what it is, right? It's like I really just didn't I was so involved with school, with athletics and girls, and just things of this world, that things of faith just weren't interesting to me. And I think, that if we go back and, geez, how can we help the youth, right? We need to make it fun, make it something that the youth can really resonate with. And I think that now some of the youth groups and things that I'm a part of, it's like, okay, good. They're doing stuff that really kids enjoy. So they're enjoy being around people, or enjoy doing fun things together. And then they learn also the gospel along with it. And boy, but it was like a lot different when I was young, because it was just literally they'd put us into the main service, and it was very ritualistic and just boring as heck. So I was just like, this isn't for me. And so I just grew up with that, as I thought that was religion, right? And
Yeah.
and
It's a
that's where
fast
faith and religion to me were one and the same back then, which they're not today.
fascinating. Yeah, and yeah, I thought of something as you were just mentioning about the youth, in that I too was someone that was raised into religion and then stepped away from it and didn't really care. I was one of the people that kind of got a bad taste in my mouth for it, and I I wouldn't even say I was agnostic. I was more atheistic.
Okay.
And then I came back around when I started to become an adult and understand more things of this world. And, based on what you were just saying, even, I don't know how much of a meaningful connection we could possibly even get youth into having with faith, because I think it was the life experiences and the wisdom that came through life that ultimately was the meaningful coming back to faith for myself and perhaps yourself as well. And I think a lot of people that, when you're just a child and everything's good, not that every
Yeah.
child has a life where everything's good, but like,
Right.
I feel like it's such a meta concept to really wrap your head around where if you're just a child and getting intertwined in faith, even if you're having fun, I'm not sure how much you're really like grasping it. You know what I mean? What do you
Yeah,
think?
I mean that's true. I mean, I look at my life and I think that God was chiseling me all the way through all the experiences I did have. I can see His handiwork through my life, through all the tribulations and stuff that you do go through, and you learn a lot through those trials. But I do find some youth that are just attracted to that and understand more, way more than when I was their age about the faith. And so, it is an interesting thing. It's like I totally agree with you, but at the same point, I still think that some of the children are just amazing, where they have that connection with God and have a really great way to explain it. And I see some of these influencers that are in their 20s that are just on fire for Christ, and it's like it's just amazing how they have that deep connection at such a young age without having to go through a lot of the bumps and bruises that maybe you and I had to go, right. Everybody's got a different path, I think, to a faith, and mine was similar to yours in respect that I had to really struggle and go through some issues in order to really appreciate appreciate God, right? That He is real, and that I need to rely on Him. And when I started to do that, my life turned around in a dramatic way. So.
And so what was that experience like? What was there a singular catalyst event that brought you back to God, or was it kind of like evolution or like a slow gradual process? What did that look like for you?
Yeah, it was for me. It was really an evolution. I did have certain moments that were just really key to my faith, and at those points, I really believed. And so one of them was when I got hit by the truck. I don't know. It's part of my story. I was a youth athlete, and I made the U.S. junior team, and I was excited about trying to make the Olympics in running. And then that winter, I was out. I just made the U.S. team, so I was the second best miler in the country, the 19 years and younger in the United States. And then that winter, I was out on a training run and got hit by a 4x4 truck. And the truck hit me and threw me 36 feet. I landed straight on my face and had a bloody nose earlier in the run, and my throat clogged, and I was laying unconscious on the side of the road, not breathing. Right. So if I would not have had my friend there with me to unclog my throat, I would have perished on that day. And so when they did wake me up with the smelling salts, and I was trying to figure out what was going on, it was really an eye-opening experience in the respect that I was like, okay, our lives are. I just realized that God had a plan for my life. Right there, I could have easily died on that day, and I didn't. And so what does that mean? And I did go through a really tough time after that process, because it was just traumatic, because that had been my whole life, was to be a professional runner. And then when I got the next day in the hospital, I looked at my face, and it was just landed straight on my face. So this whole side of my face was swollen like 3 or 4 inches out, and I looked like the Elephant Man. I was just like, I literally, and I know no disrespect to anybody who has disfigured faces, right? But I just felt like I'm gonna look like that the rest of my life, and it was devastating. I just like, oh my gosh, this is, I'm no longer me. I'm this person now, and it was really devastating. So anyway, I got through that period. I'm like, okay, I survived. Why did I survive? You start asking these questions, is that a lot of times, if you don't have a traumatic accident like that, you don't ask those questions. And so I got to that point where I'm like, what is the meaning of life, and why am I here, and what is God's plan for me. And so at that point, I really felt like he did have a plan for me. He helped me survive that day. And then, I've for probably a couple decades, I didn't, I still, it was like, that's why I said it's kind of an evolution for me is yes, I knew God had a plan for me and I believed that he saved me that day, but I still didn't go deep into my faith at that point, right? It's evolved and progressed, over the last few years, and probably the last 5 years of where I've really been on fire for Christ. So
And so you said that you contemplated why you were saved and didn't perish that day. But have
yeah.
you contemplated why that happened in the first place that day?
Well, yeah, I think God has literally, in my opinion, he's been training me to be the person that I am all throughout my life. And I look back on it now, and I can see that. I can see that as a youth, he taught me about nutrition and why that was so important. That I read a book called Eat to Win, and that book really helped me understand that the nutrition that I put in my body feeds my body to help me perform better. And man, I became a much, much better runner when I read that. So my competition was out drinking beer and eating pizza, and I was hydrating and eating healthy meals. And we'd get to the point in the race where you needed to dig in, right? Especially I was a distance runner, so I could have a good kick. I could finish strong, and they had nothing left. At least that's what I felt. I was like, I feel stronger now because I know how to fuel my body. So anyway, I think he taught me that, right? And then that traumatic experience was like, okay, I guess I'm not going to be a runner anymore, right? It was like that was my plan. So then it's like, okay, then what? And so then I went into enterprise sales, and I learned how to communicate with people on the board and communicate with executives and network and be able to speak in front of people and communicate in a way and teach people how to learn something so that they would want to acquire that thing. And that skill set was really important to what I do today. And then I call it the second truck that hit me is the pandemic. That when that second truck hit me, I lost my sales job, and I was like, "What the heck is going on?" And that really woke me up to what I call the medical cartel, right? Because since I was into natural health, I was seeing all these doctors that were just getting vilified for talking about vitamin D. Like, how can you vilify somebody for talking about vitamin D? Vitamin D is just a natural substance that comes from the sun, right? It's like, that's just, how is that bad? And but boy, they were just vilifying people, and so I started trying to understand why. Why would they be doing that? And why? What is going on? And man, when I started uncovering that onion, I was like, whoa, hold it, time out. Something's going on. And man, then I just started learning about a lot of things about how our world operates, and learned a ton of things that I believe are true. And now I don't believe anything that the media ever tells me. I was in the matrix, and now I understand that there is a matrix, and that there's evil people out there with an agenda that they want you to follow the narrative. And anyway, so that's a long answer to your question, but does that make sense? So now I do what I do, and I've created a couple of companies that are helping people with their health, and we have a faith-based aspect to that. So I believe he's trained me all the way from the beginning to help humanity in a way that is I would never have even thought of doing without what he did, to me or for me, or however you want to look at that. The life experiences that I've had, I think believe he was training me.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And it's something that I can relate to in some of my life experiences. I think that God gives us signs, and at first, He'll give us more gentle signs, but a lot of us have a habit of ignoring them and,
Yeah.
thinking that we have some plan that can be
Yeah.
better than whatever the divine plan that is in store for us is. And so we
He
continue
gives
to
us free
walk.
will, right? So we have that ability to make a decision when we probably shouldn't, right?
Exactly. And that doesn't necessarily mean that, we have bad intentions. Sometimes we just get misguided by one thing or the other, and it's hard not to sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah, for
I,
sure.
I think when we do walk the wrong path for some time, then sometimes we do get hit with a truck to put us back in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
it's up to us to find the lesson in everything that happens to us, especially, certain things that can be mass redirections. I don't think anything's random. I think that we do have free will, of course, and we can free will ourselves into negative scenarios, but I do think very much so that there is divine intervention sometimes, and something that is seemingly distressing or very traumatic could end up being exactly what we needed to get pushed in the right direction. I don't think the love of a father is always pretty. I don't think it's always soft. I don't think it's always gentle. But I think a loving father always has our best interest beyond what we know, and so I think that's very much fits within the schema of God putting scenarios in our life that we are intended to be molded and shaped from into something better. Uh,
Yep. I love Romans 8:28 is one of my favorite scriptures, right? He works for all things for good, for our good. And it's like, wow. And I 100% agree with you in that life, we're all going to have troubles. Being a person of faith has never been going to be easy. In fact, it's actually just the opposite of that. Being a person of faith is you're going to be persecuted because of your faith, and that's just been going on since biblical times, right? And but there is lessons behind all of it, and I'm very happy to do that because I strongly believe that it is real and that it is true, and that I believe he has a plan for all of us. And I look at trials as man, this sucks, but it's okay because I'm going to get through it, and I'm going to learn something from it. So if I can change that attitude to say, instead of man, this sucks, life is horrible, I'm never, nothing's ever going to happen. You can get into a really depressed state really quickly and easily, and a lot of our society is in that position. Whereas, man, if you can just look at it as a way to, then can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's like, yeah, this really sucks. Well, but just keep going. If you just keep going, you're going to get through that, and you're going to learn from that. And then guess what? Maybe next time you won't make that dumb decision that you made to get you in that spot. Maybe you make a little bit of an adjustment that helps you become a little bit better of a person. And man, I have seen that come, to reality in my life right through that process.
and how would you say that you discern between suffering that we're experiencing via our own free will, that's perhaps an indicator of us being on the wrong path, or suffering that is divinely put in our place that we are meant to push through?
Yeah, I think it's in my honest opinion, it's an individual thing. Everybody's different. Everybody's on a different path. Everybody has different issues, different trials and tribulations, and what is the exact same circumstance for me and maybe you and I go through the exact same thing. We're going to react to it differently because of the person that we are, that he's made us to be, and the experiences we've had up to date. So we're still not even going to react the same way. But I just, in my opinion, it's impossible to really discern those, other than the respect that I know that he has a plan for you in your life, and that he's going to give you options and free will, and he's going to correct you when he feels he needs to correct you or guide you, and you may or may not listen, right? Because you have that ability with your free will. But I'm trying to listen much more than I ever did, and really trying to follow his direction. I'm like, okay, God, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do today? Right? I will literally pray about that in the morning. It's like, okay, what, I've done my Bible reading. I'm doing that every day now, and I pray about it. And I was like, I have my plan for the day, but is there other things you want me to do today? And I'll go through my day, and I may get prodding. In fact, just last week I was at an event during the day, and I was really tired. I went home and I wanted to watch the Olympics with my wife, and I sat down and watched the Olympics with my wife. But they had a networking event at this place, and I was just like, oh, I do not want to go to this, right? I don't drink anymore. So I was like, I don't want to go have, I don't want to go have drinks with people. And it was just, but I knew that there were some important people at that event that I was just like, yeah, it could be really good for me. And I might meet some really good people. So I just felt the prodding to go, even though my flesh said, take your jacket off, sit down on the couch, watch the Olympics with your wife. But anyway, I just felt that prodding. I was just like, I really need to go. And when I went there, I was introduced to three people that I think are transformational in my business. So it was like, okay, now I see why you did that and why you prodded me to go, because there were people there he wanted me to meet. And if I listened to my flesh, I would have sat down on the couch. In the past, I would have opened up my beer. I would have been 5 o'clock somewhere, and I would have sat down and watched the Olympics. But trying to learn and be better.
Yeah, absolutely. Then got to never stop moving forward, and the more you do, the more you will get out of whatever you're doing. Like sitting on the couch wouldn't have netted you anything. It's taking the action path is more often than not the advisable one. But to back up a little bit, you mentioned that God has a plan for everybody. Do
Yeah.
you believe that God has genuinely a divine plan for everybody, or are some people out here destined to be just on Satan's army and a minion of Satan? Or is
Well,
that perhaps God's plan for them for the greater good?
Well, I think that God gives people free will, and there's a lot of people that are going to choose the wrong path, right? So yeah, I don't think that's necessarily God's plan for that person to be evil, but I think that the devil's very crafty. He's very good at what he does, and there's a lot of people that just make, in my opinion, the wrong decision, and they go down the wrong path. So I think there is a good versus evil fight going on in the world. And I believe even the most evil people can eventually turn for good. So I even people that I see as not so great, I still pray for them, because there is a chance that they'll have an encounter and realize that they did make the wrong decision, and that they can join the right team, even all the way up to death. So I pray for people that are like that, and we'll see what happens in the end. I know at the end we win, right? That's the that's what I have faith in. That I've read the Bible, and I believe that it's true, and I believe that good wins in the end. So, but yeah, I believe he does have a plan for everybody. But I do believe you have goodwill, and you can make a bad decision. But guess what? Maybe that bad decision lasts for a really long time, and then that person wakes up one day and has an encounter with God or with Jesus, or however you want to talk about it, and they may give their life to Christ at the right moment and still join us in heaven.
Yeah, it's a fascinating thing. I've often myself said the good always wins in the end, but then it does always bring it to the question, well, what is the end? Is there
Yeah,
an end? Whose end are we talking about? And,
yeah,
it's a very fascinating thought
it
exercise.
is.
But
It is.
I want to ask, do you believe that evil committed in willful ignorance is the same as evil done with nefarious intent?
Well, I think they're both evil, right? But and yeah, they're both bad. But the thing that's interesting about evil things and evil doings is it has nothing to do with what I think. It's I'm not the judge. I know that God is going to judge them at the point when he needs to judge them, and it's not for me to judge. So yes, if they do bad things, they're bad people. And guess what? It's not to me to hate them. It's not for me to judge them because it really isn't up to me whether that person's evil and they did it for evil intents or evil. It just is, it is what it is. And at some point they're going to face the ramifications for that. Maybe not in this physical world, but in the spiritual world, I know they will. So I look at evil doings and evil things as just it's going to happen, and there are things that happen, but I don't judge those types of things because it's not up to me.
Now, what does it mean to not judge, right? Because if we think of it even as good or evil, even the act itself, then that right there is a judgment. And I think that there's been a glamorization of this concept of not judging, but I don't think that's even possible within the realm of a sober human mind. I
Yeah,
think
I mean, I could have my opinion for sure, right? But it's not my decision to hate someone or dislike someone just because of their actions, even though my flesh really wants to not like people. I really try to understand that God made everybody, and even though, man, there are people on this earth that I really do not appreciate at all, right? But at the same point, it's not my decision to judge that person. So, I really do try to pray for people that I don't that most people would say I hate that person, I really dislike that person, or I hate the left, or I hate the right, or I hate the green, or I hate the yellow. It's like no. I mean, my opinion is like I have to know that we're all created equally. We're all descendants of Adam and Eve, and it's just like we are all the same people. We're all children of God, and some of us are not going to be great people. Some of us are going to be good people, and at the end of the day, He's the judge, not me. So, if somebody does something bad for me, I really have found that forgiveness is a ridiculously amazing and uplifting feeling that man, once I went through that process, it was like is such amazing relief to go through that process that now I wish that on everybody, right? You need to, if you have somebody that you really don't like and they've wronged you in a ridiculous way, and it was wrong, but if you can find the fortitude and the just courage to forgive people for that, even though there's no reason for you to forgive them, and you still do, it's such a great thing for you. It just relieves everything off of you, relieves all that pressure, all that anxiety, all that stress just goes away. And then you become a much better person just because you forgave them. And the person will probably never know that you forgave them, and it doesn't matter. But what it does is it changes you as a person. You feel so much better, and you can go on and live a life that's not distressed or frustrated. That, man, you got wronged in a big way, and you think about that all day and every day, and you get up and, man, life sucks because that person, and but man, if you just forgive that up, and then you just continue to go forward and you start living, and that just goes behind you, and you're moving forward on your next step. So, like you said, action, right? Let's take action. Let's move forward, and we're going to be much better for it, and
and
hopefully have a
on
better impact on the kingdom. Right? That's what my big goal now is, to try to help people find the kingdom and or just be better people.
Absolutely. And on the note of action, do you think that there is a place in our hearts and in a way to be where we can forgive, we can not have hatred, but also simultaneously we can stand up and actually take action against the evil and wrongdoers, or those that in that moment we genuinely believe to be evil and wrongdoing? Because if nobody does, then the evil and wrongdoing only proliferates and grows and continues. And I think the turn the other cheek philosophy has been what has given the Satanists an inch, and then they take a mile, and then they take 2 and 10 and 20 and 100.
Yeah.
And then the good people of the earth are just sitting there quietly saying, oh, well, it's
Well,
not for me
yeah.
to judge. God will judge them. Well, when's
I
enough enough?
No, yeah, I think I definitely don't want to ever say we don't need to take action to support our faith and to support what's right, because I think it's very, very important because of what you just said. There's way too many people who are armchair quarterbacks, right? Who just say, "Oh, well, let's pray about it." No, yes, you do need to pray about it, but you need to go do something about it, right? You need to go, you need to go be a part of your school board. You need to go be part of, your street committee, right? You need to go do. You can't just sit and idly watch evil take over our society. God made you. God didn't make you to sit on the couch and pray about it. He made you to go do something about it. Right. And so in my opinion, so man, yeah, I'm very, very much for the yes, you do need to pray about it, but you need to pray about what you need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's far too much cope in the faithful world, in the like just having faith and lacking the
Well,
worldly action. I think,
yeah.
we need to be acting and growing and progressing on both sides of ourselves. We are spiritual or esoteric or ethereal beings, sure, but we are also here in this physical world for a reason. And so, without one translating to the other and that feedback between the two realms, I don't think we are actually having the full human experience that God intended for us.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love the book of Exodus, and it's like, right, you look at what happened with them, the 10, or was it 12 men went into Egypt, right, to evaluate it. Is this something can we take the promised land? And they all came back, and 10 of them said, no, well, no way we can take over those people. There's giants, right? They have all these things that we don't have. Yet there were two people who had faith who said, we can do it. All right. And they ended up taking action. It took a long time. It's a long story, but at the same point, they were strong and courageous, and they did act, and they did take over that promised land that God had for them. But it took courageous action, and for them to actually do it. Whereas 10 of them, I would say, had that same feeling. It's like, you know what? No, even though God has done all these things for me, he can't do that. But it's like, come on, if he's done those things, how can he not do that? Right. So it's like, yeah. So
Well, that's a fantastic segue. You mentioned you very much love the book of Exodus, and you love it so much so that you have named something that you're currently doing after it. So let's talk about that. You
that sounds
created
good.
a supplement that you have named Exodus. And can you tell me why and what brought you to formulate this supplement? Why is it called Exodus? What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I am just over the moon excited about this. And it's because of I know the actual impact it's going to have on society. And the reason I know that is because of the what we have in this supplement is literally game changing. It's not like a normal supplement, right? I've been in the health space for a really long time, right? I mentioned as I was a youth athlete, right? I take all types of multivitamins, and like I mentioned, I've done research on a lot of biblical ingredients and what the benefits of those are. But what we put together in this supplement is just game changing. I was looking at the biblical ingredients and trying to craft something that was really amazing for people's health. And I met this, God led me to this amazing doctor who had been working on and knew about and had access to this really game-changing solution that creates molecular hydrogen inside the body. So he was looking for us a way to market it in a biblical way. I was looking for something to create a biblically based solution, but I really wanted something game changing, right? I didn't want just the Me Too product that says, "Oh, well, I've got a better greens product than you because I added one other, I added pomegranate or whatever, to it." And I wanted something, just game changing. I'm like, if we're going to really do this, I want it to be impactful. And man, when I saw what molecular hydrogen does inside the body and the effects that it's had on people and all the scientific studies that have been done, and then I added my ingredients on top of it, so I literally have a solution that's unbelievable. It's like a double strength greens product. And those greens products are awesome for giving you the right nutrients you need and giving you gut health that you need and helping reduce inflammation that everyone needs. And then you add this molecular hydrogen blend inside it. And then that molecular hydrogen goes inside the body and acts as a master antioxidant. So it gets rid of all the crap, all the bad stuff, and then makes the good work better and more efficiently. So it's just absolutely game-changing product. That the worst thing that I have right now, the thing that frustrates me the most, is I have a ton of it sitting in my warehouse, and it shouldn't be. It should be sitting in someone's desk, and they should be using it because I was talking to the doctor. I was like, okay, when we were first, coming up with the way we're going to market the product and who are we going to market it to, right? Is it a inflammation relief? Is it gut health? Is it energy? Is it, there's so many different things. I said, what are we going to focus on? He says, well, really the question needs to be what health issue you're dealing with. So Zachary, what health issue are you dealing with?
Nothing particularly comes to mind. I try to keep myself relatively healthy.
Good for you. So anyway, you ask, most 50-year-old person on the street, and they're gonna say, oh, well, I've got, this and this that happens. And then you go, okay, guess what? Take this. This is an example of, this is a bottle of Exodus. So he's literally, no matter what they say, so this is going to help you. I was just like, it's that good? I was like, really? And then so I started doing research on it. It's like it is. It helps with so many different issues. But the cool thing is it helps with the big ones. Like if you look at the big problems that our society has today, the number one issue that is heart disease, right? That's one of the biggest killers in our world is heart disease. And this has amazing cardiovascular benefits. You look at blood sugar issues. And this has really incredible blood sugar management, right? And so, and then you look at some of the ingredients like saffron, for example. And saffron's great at helping with stress, so stressors. So people who have anxiety and other things like that, it's a really good solution for. You talk about pain, right? Pain is something I'm very familiar with because we have another solution that we have a pain relief patch that you put a patch on and it helps you relieve pain. But this product Exodus is shown to reduce inflammation. And where does pain come from? Pain comes from inflammation, and it's really good at gut health. And when I've been with my podcast that we talked about earlier, the I Am Pain Free podcast, one of the most common issues that I talk to the doctors about and health specialists that I interview, they just like, your health starts at your gut. If you can get your gut healthy, then your body can start operating the way it's supposed to operate, and then it can heal itself. And so we have this product helps with your gut, and it helps reduce the inflammation, and then the things like pain and other issues that people have because of those issues, it goes away because of our inflammation reduction. So you just start going down the top big problems that people have, and they're like, hey, how can you help me with that? And I can go, I've got something amazing. So I'm just super, super duper excited about it, that I know this is going to help people in a dramatic way. And we have since it is called Exodus and it has 7 biblical ingredients, we really have a faith-based aspect to our company as well, because we want to make a big impact on the world, on their faith through their health. So we include a prayer guide that goes with the product. So we have this prayer guide that it has Monday through Sunday prayers that we literally want people to declare it. We want the people to say out loud the prayer. So they use their mouth to declare it, their eyes to read it, their ears to hear themselves say it, and then they take the supplement and they're using multiple of God's senses to help them with their issues. And you know what? If God ends up healing somebody, that would be the best case scenario, right? That he just miraculously heals somebody because they took the time and effort to pray about it. And there's a lot of people that may not have done that prayer if they hadn't have seen the prayer guide and actually prayed about it. So we have a goal to get 1 million new people to be reading the Bible on a daily basis through their health. So we have a reading plan that goes along with it. If you want to go a little bit deeper than the prayer guide, we have a reading plan that goes hand in hand with it, so you can do a little bit more research on why was God saying that, right? And what does that mean? And you can go back through and look at the context of it within the Bible, and just may get people stirred up and thinking about the Bible. But they originally heard about Exodus because, geez, guess what? It's helping so many people with X issue that they are taking the product because they want to use their health, and then they're like, hey, what's this prayer guide? Let me check out this prayer guide. So that's kind of the that isn't kind of, that is the what we're trying to accomplish. Is we want to help lots and lots of people with their health in a very positive way. And that we think that our society is going down this just negative path with, and people are trying to poison our water. They're poisoning our air. They're poisoning our food. It's just getting really, really bad. So we need to counteract that fight and help people with their health. And this product is an incredible way to do that. So I'm just super, super excited to get it in people's hand and get it out of my warehouse, because it can't help people when it's sitting in my warehouse.
Yeah, it's very fascinating, and I certainly appreciate the approach of, I want to say, attacking ailments at both angles, both the spiritual side and the physical side. I think that's the most comprehensive and successful way to approach anything. And I want to understand more about it, because this is not something that I'm myself very learned on, the hydrogen element of it. I know it's been very trendy. I know I've seen hydrogen this, hydrogen that, drink hydrogen water, do this. So I want to understand for myself and for the skeptics, and I want to understand at a deep level, like where is this hydrogen coming from? Is there actual hydrogen in the thing, or is it things that are going to prompt the body to create hydrogen, or is it a reaction that's occurring? What's molecular hydrogen versus just hydrogen? Does that just mean that it is a molecule of hydrogen? I want to understand a little more on the scientific side, what the involvement of hydrogen is and how it's implemented in a capsule form amongst these other things.
That's it's such an incredible question, because there's lots and lots to that question. But I am not a scientist, but what I can do is tell you a lot about what you just said. So it's I'd say maybe 9 months ago, I had no clue. But the last 9 months, as we were creating this product, I've done a ton of research, and that's just super fascinating. So hydrogen is all the buzz right now, right? Like I've used those hydrogen water bottles for 6 months. I love it because it creates, it's got water in it, and you hit a button, and then it will create hydrogen in your water. I'm like, oh, okay, that's good, right? Because I started doing research on hydrogen, and it's like, wow, hydrogen can do a lot of good. However, when you do those hydrogen water, if you don't drink it all immediately, then it diffuses really quickly. So if it diffuses really quickly, then by the time you actually the system makes it, and then you physically drink it, by the time it goes in your mouth and down your esophagus into your belly, it's diffused dramatically by the time it gets there. And then your body finally assimilates it, and it might assimilate, a small percentage of the hydrogen. So then it's like, well, that sucks. So then can you do it via, there's other mechanisms. I was at a health conference, and they had the hydrogen machines where you sit down and you have the thing on your nose, and you're breathing in hydrogen air, and because the system creates hydrogen, and that's good, right? And you get a euphoric feeling when you're getting the hydrogen, because your body's not used to it and that much, and that is good. But it's still, interestingly enough, the blood-brain barrier and things in the way that your body assimilates that hydrogen, it still isn't as effective as literally taking Exodus, because Exodus works in a really different way. Instead of hydrogen in the capsule, it's not hydrogen in the capsule. It's literally a specific patented magnesium blend that when your body interacts with your body's fluid, then your body fluid and the magnesium blend, it creates the molecular hydrogen. So the cool thing about that is then since your body is creating it, it uses it. So it's not diffused because your body created it. So it's much, much more effective. And that's why this is literally a double dose of hydrogen compared to other hydrogen solutions. And it's a double dose of our greens because you get double of what most greens products have in it with our biblical ingredients. So that's one answer to your question is there's are different ways to take hydrogen. And you can do these little pills you can stick in water. Those act the same way. If you don't drink it immediately, you don't consume it immediately, it diffuses dramatically. So, or you can use a water bottle, you can do that. But hydrogen in and of itself is really impactful. There's two websites that are fantastic for people to research on. You can go to hydrogenstudies.com. And there it has 1,300 plus studies that have been done on hydrogen and hydrogen either on humans and or pets or animals. But there's lots and lots and lots of studies. And then you start looking at the categories of things that they've done studies about. And it's all the things from cognitive to cardiovascular to diabetic issues, these research reports and scientific studies have been done. So it's very, very, very thorough and lots of research on hydrogen and the positive impact on the body. And then another one that's awesome is molecular hydrogen studies.com. So there's hydrogenstudies.com and there's molecularhydrogenstudies.com. And it's done specifically on what molecular hydrogen it will do with it. And there's categories there as well. You can look at all different types of categories and it splits them out between human tests and pet tests, et cetera. And then there's even a Molecular Hydrogen Institute. And the Molecular Hydrogen Institute is an organization that's funded specifically to do research on molecular hydrogen and talk about it, right? And do research studies about it and help people understand the benefits of it because, and why all the hubbub, right? Why would would all these things be happening around hydrogen? Because of the positive effect and impact it has on the body. So the cool thing for me is that we have a product that's much more effective than anything else on the market. It's like so incredibly exciting to me is that yes, you can do all those things. And I think you should, right? You should try those things. But if you really want to get help, we've got the best product for you. So once I think people understand that, we're going to have a really hard time keeping our product in the warehouse, like I mentioned. And so, we're super excited about the future because as soon as I can get the marketing messages out there and the world understands what we have, it's going to be exciting because we're going to help so many people and we'll have such a big impact on the world. So I'm excited about it.
Amazing. There's a lot going on there. There's certainly a lot.
No, you asked a really important question.
Yeah.
And one thing I didn't
that's
answer,
what I want to get to the bottom of what's going on here because I don't understand it necessarily yet. And I know the average listener might not. And I know the average listener might themselves be quite skeptical. So I like to ask the question.
I totally agree. Because I was too. I'm like, oh, come on, right? This is going to help. When he told me that first, I said, it's going to help with all these issues. I'm like, this thing's going to help with all these issues. I don't understand why and how. So I literally went to the Molecular Hydrogen Institute and I started doing, some of the courses there. And so one of the cool things about that you asked was, how does it work? And one of the things I understood, which is really cool, is molecular hydrogen. Well, first of all, to back up way to the 30,000 foot level, it's like, okay, hydrogen. Hydrogen is the first element on the periodic table, right? It is the first element. It is the smallest element in the God created. And so it's the most abundant thing in Earth, right? Is hydrogen, but the molecular hydrogen specifically, what it does is it acts as a master antioxidant in the body, and that's really important distinction because when the more research I did on antioxidants, I thought, okay, antioxidants are great, right? I'm like, I hear these terms like antioxidant is really good for you. And what antioxidant does, it just means that it removes stuff from your body. And the bad thing is an antioxidant, too much of it can remove a lot of good stuff. So you need good bacteria, right? For example, in your gut to have your gut operate efficiently and effectively. So you don't want all the good bacteria to be removed from your body, then you're going to die, right? So you need to have a good mix, and that's what's so incredibly cool about molecular hydrogen is molecular hydrogen works as a master antioxidant. So it can go decipher between the good and the bad. So it finds the free radicals and attaches to them and extracts them from your body. Yet it finds the good ones like the mitochondria, and it helps the mitochondrial process work more efficiently and effectively. So it improves what is in your body that is good, and it gets rid of the bad. It's like that is incredible. So you start understanding some things like that with the molecular hydrogen, and then you're like, oh, now I can understand why it's going to help people with these different types of issues because of the fact of how it works. And so that's what's so cool about Exodus is you take the product, it has the greens in it, so it gives you the right nutrients you need, gives you the right energy that you need, reduces inflammation, so you're not in stress. And guess what? Then your body starts doing what it's supposed to do, gets rid of the bad stuff and helps the good stuff work better. And then ultimately, your body's in the best position possible for it to do what God made it to do, which is to heal itself. So super, super stoked about it.
And so you said that the mineral blend is essentially a magnesium blend. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a patented process that you can't find anywhere else. But through our product, our specific mineral blend is different than everybody else's. So it's you can take magnesium, but it's not the same thing. It's not magnesium, and this specific patented formula that is part of our product is specifically created to create that molecular hydrogen. Whereas a lot of magnesium won't turn into molecular hydrogen. You have to have this specific blend of it, and that's patented.
Fascinating, fascinating. Because that was going to be my next question. I was going to ask what makes this a hydrogen supplement and not a magnesium supplement, because that's something that's been very popular these days as well in different
Yeah,
forms.
magnesium is really good because most people just don't have enough of it. So it is very good to supplement with that, right? So then that's the thing I used to always understand is just okay, what are the things that are most people don't understand is they'll just supplement to supplement rather than supplement for your deficiencies. Right.
Mhm.
And that's what really people need to do is supplement for your deficiencies. And that's what's so cool about this molecular hydrogen is it helps get rid of the bad stuff in your body. It helps improve your body to work the way it's supposed to work. And then we add those other biblical ingredients as a supplementation to help people with energy and help them with the gut health to help their body work more efficiently and effectively the way it's supposed to be. So that's why it's so much better than an AKA supplement, even though it is a supplement. It's just way better than that. So it's kind of a disservice to lump it in with all other supplements.
So, is there any consideration given to potassium? Because if I recall correctly, it's an essential component when we are taking a magnesium anything to balance it with the mineral potassium. Is that something that was considered at all, or?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. I don't know how they formulated this particular magnesium blend to make the molecular hydrogen. So I don't know how they've done it, but they've done it in a way that creates that molecular hydrogen in the body that that can't be done otherwise. So I'm not sure if they have something in there that does that. That's a question I just don't know.
And so who's they? Is this a like a scientist or researcher that is working with you or for
Yeah,
you
that's a
on
great question.
Exodus,
Yep,
or did
literally,
that?
God introduced me to a doctor out of California who's been working with these products for quite some time. So, but the problem is they hadn't put it into a formula like we had, and he was looking for what we were doing, and so he saw what I was doing with the biblical ingredients, and he's like, "That's a perfect match for this because then we can add the two together, and guess what? It's going to be a game changing solution for the world." So.
So this blend is only available through Exodus then. Like he's
That's right.
officially partner and he is the patent holder of this.
I don't think he's my main connection to the patent holders, put it that way.
Got it. Fascinating. And so the molecular hydrogen blend is but one ingredient in the handful of ingredients that are in
That's
this. So
right.
let's talk a little bit about the other things that are in there. Is it
Yeah, it sounds great.
what would you say is the I don't know, is there a percentage like, oh, 80% of the effectiveness is due to the hydrogen and the rest is split between these, herbs and greens, or is it all like, are they doing separate things at the same time? Are they meant to all like work together and it's the synchronicity between all the ingredients that makes it effective? Or is it just, hey, this is good and this is good and this is good, so here's all of these? Like what,
That's an
what's the
awesome
level?
question.
Yeah. What's the
Awesome
level
question.
of importance between the herbs and the hydrogen?
And that literally depends. So it depends on the person, right? Depends on what your issues are, right? And what you've actually, what state your body is in, of what components of the solution are going to help you most. So if you're really deficient on the nutrients that you need, then guess what? The greens part of the equation, the barley grass and the wheatgrass, are going to be a substantial help to that person, because they're going to like go, oh wow, I have a lot of energy. I feel so much better today. And it's like, guess what? Because their body was lacking the nutrients it needed. Yet, if they are stressed out and they're, having, anxiety issues and or just things such as that, then guess what? Saffron is the part of the mix that's really going to do the heavy lifting. So it depends. That's why this answer is so important, is because it depends on everybody's issue and what problem that your body is deficient in, whether where this product's going to be most beneficial. So both of those examples had really nothing to do with molecular hydrogen, right? So you look at molecular hydrogen and the things it can do, and you go to hydrogenstudies.com, and guess what categories they have in hydrogenstudies.com? They have a cardiovascular area, they have a cognitive area, they have a diabetes area, they have an inflammation area. And so you look at what hydrogen can do in the body, and you start looking at those. And if someone has inflammation, molecular hydrogen is going to be helpful. But guess what? The cool thing about this synergistic relationship between those 7 biblical ingredients and the molecular hydrogen is they complement each other. So a number of the ingredients in the mix help with the inflammation response to your body, in your body. And so there's a couple of them in there that are specifically help with that. But then guess what? Molecular hydrogen does as well. So the combination of them is just unbelievable. So it's pretty exciting.
And so what consideration do you take in the sourcing of these herbs and the greens and the different spices? Where are you guys getting like these ingredients? Do you have a farm, or like what's your kind of qualifications?
Yeah, it is very, very important about these ingredients. So we definitely make sure that they are ethically sourced, and we also make sure that they have it's gluten free, right? It's soy free. They are what is it? It's sugar free, soy free, gluten free. We use an animal or a vegetable gel around as the capsule, right? So we're very cautious about people's interactions with it. So anybody that has dietary constraints, it's not going to interact with any of those. So we've got 8 different buttons, bulbs on our product that showcase those so that people understand it's soy free, it's gluten free, it's just trying to remember the 8. let me look at it real quick. There's 8 of them that are important. Let's see. I will get to it real quick. It is. There it is. So non-GMO, right? So it's obviously nothing's genetically modified. It is gluten-free. It's dairy-free. There's no sugar. It is soy-free. There are no artificial ingredients. It is plant-based, and it's vegan. So it's super important to us that these ingredients are well sourced, and we do. Our manufacturer is one of the top manufacturers in the country, and they're out of California. We got a tour of their facility, and it's like, they made me wear a mask. I'm like, you're making me wear a mask.
Like, California.
I couldn't stand, but it wasn't because of COVID. It was because they literally are that cautious about you going through their facility, and everything is by the book. It's like super cool to see how many checks and balances they have. They check it from the point it hits their dock to the point that it's put inside the capsules and then inside the bottles. It's like really, 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 really well done. I was like, man, this place is off the chain, conservative. And it frustrated me at the beginning because I'm like, let's get this thing manufactured, right? Let's go. And it took a really long time, but at the same point, it took a really long time because they do it right. So it was. And good.
So how did you select these ingredients? Did you read through the Bible and then just directly pick out from there? Did you find the ingredients first and then looked into the biblical referencing of them? Like, where did this selection come from?
Yeah,
because surely there's other herbs out there that are great.
Well,
I imagine there might be other ones that even referenced in the Bible. So why?
Yeah, there's tons of herbs in the Bible, and there's tons of helpful herbs, and superfoods in the Bible. There's lots of them, and I've been doing a lot of research on them, and that's what I was passionate about and excited about. I was like, how can I help people, and how can I do it on a biblical basis? And those are the things that I just personally was excited about. Originally, we came up with a formula that was quite a bit more of the ingredients. But what we ended up doing is finding the ones that were synergistic to the product and the problem. And so were some that just that can stand on their own, that really just didn't fit in with the synergistic relationship between them. And we like the 7 is an awesome biblical number, and then you add 8, and that is the biblical reference is completeness. And so we really felt that you add the molecular hydrogen to our 7 biblical ingredients, and that is a significant factor in that this is a complete solution for people's health. That's the way I like it. It is complete, and it's a perfect match. So, in the future, we may do other things. We may add other components. We may subtract other components. But in and of itself, we're super excited about the mix that we've got right now.
Is there anyone that should not take Exodus? Like, are there certain people with certain sensitivities to these ingredients, or are there any other considerations to keep in mind if someone's
Yeah, the only thing I could think of literally that would be things if you were allergic to any of those ingredients, right? If you're allergic to those 7 ingredients, you're allergic to wheatgrass, or allergic to barley grass. And it's really important to understand the difference with wheat, right? People hear wheat and they immediately think, oh, gluten. But no, it's not. It's gluten-free. And this is using the wheat grass. Wheat grass is way different than wheat. So it's really important distinction that people need to understand. But if you're allergic to wheatgrass, you're allergic to barley grass, you're allergic to saffron, you're allergic to cumin, you're allergic to aloe, or you're allergic to frankincense or myrrh, or I guess the magnesium, with that magnesium blend, then I wouldn't take it. But other than that, there's no, I mean, literally, children have been shown to take it. Animals have been shown to take it in moderate amounts. And so it's just, yeah, it's that we recommend 2 capsules for an adult. And so children would, I get the doctors have recommended. So it just depends. We have it already in 5 different doctors' offices. So it's pretty cool. It's just in this, we've only had the product out for a week and a half. And so it's like really, really early on, but doctors see the impact of this and they're excited. And the one doctor that I did talk to about with children, he will do it, but he'll take the capsule apart and only put a certain percentage of the capsule. And I don't remember the ratio, but so that's something with anything. I can't recommend any dosage or anything other than talk to your health practitioner, get recommendations from them, right?
Yeah, of course, of course. I'm sure they'll be super happy to talk about the natural herbal
There are
things.
some amazing health practitioners that are all natural. That's the
Yeah, I'm very jaded to them all. So, do you have any like particular stories or testimonials that come to mind? I know it's only been on the market for a week and a half, but you said that, I imagine you've been taking it for some time, or perhaps your friends and family. Do you have any, stories of someone that noticed a particular change to their life that maybe even they weren't expecting, or that you weren't expecting?
Yeah, we have a couple that are pretty dramatic. It's really fun to learn. One is at the first conference I went to. This gentleman had a groin issue, and he had that problem for quite some time, and literally for months. And so he took some Exodus and came back a few hours later and said, "Guess what? I no longer have like my groin feels incredible, and I has not felt that way for months." He said the only thing I can attribute it to is Exodus. So that was really cool because that was like just really early on. One of the first people I'd shared the product with, like literally probably maybe the one of the first 10 people that I'd shared the product with, and he comes back with a significant story. I was like, oh, okay, this is really cool. One woman had her daughter take the product. She had been has struggled with a lot of different health issues, and literally couldn't get out of bed, is really having some really significant health problems. And after taking the components of our product, she's significantly improved, and she literally thinks it's a miracle. She's like, this product is amazing. Had one woman who lives on the 3rd floor of an apartment complex, and she took Exodus, and she literally couldn't believe that she got up all 3 flights of stairs and was not with breathing hard, which that doesn't sound real dramatic, but you think about that, she always felt that way going up. And this product is, in fact, we're shipping it to some NFL organizations this week because they're super excited about it from an athletic perspective. It's an unbelievable product that really helps people perform better and recover better. And so if you can recover faster, you can work out quicker and you can work out harder, right? So recovery is a really important part of athletics. But then if you can perform better, there's even some of the studies show about anaerobic and aerobic benefit with molecular hydrogen. So yeah, it's super exciting so far to see the results. It's like this thing is off the chain.
That's fascinating. I'm curious, what was the like nature of the groin issue that you mentioned? Was it like a muscle strain? Was it like a difficulty using the bathroom, or like what is it
Yeah,
doing?
no, yeah, it was a muscle issue, muscle pain, and I try to avoid the word pain just because that's one of the things that they the fun powers that be. So you can't talk about that word, right? Because if you say
Oh,
that word, then I can't say our product helps relieve pain. I can say it helps with the inflammation response,
yeah.
aka it helps with that word that I can't say.
Yeah.
That's how crazy our people who are not favorable about all natural health, right? They really target people like me because we're really trying to help people naturally and holistically, and they don't like that, as you know.
Yes, my friend, I am very familiar with the game.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So that's why we those hydrogenstudies.com and molecularhydrogenstudies.com, those places, go look at those, right? Go research the heck out of those. That's where you're going to find information, stuff that I can't say our product helps with. Just go look at those, and I can infer that it helps with a lot of issues. But we our product, like I said, doesn't heal anything. Our product just helps your body get into a state where your body can heal, and God does the rest.
And so, besides the ingredients in Exodus that are, of course, very wonderful and powerful, what does the Bible say about living a good and healthy life? Like, are there any key things that, obviously that's a very prominent question for the small amount of time we have left. But like, what are some of the main things that someone could implement from the Bible that you'd say to live a healthier life?
Well, I mean, you look in the Romans, is it 12:2, where it's like, you need to treat your body as a temple, right? And so your body is, given to you by God, and you have the ability to drive that ship, right? So you as a human being, you have, it's like I attribute it to like your car, right? You get in your car, and guess what? You're the one who drives it around, right? You're the one who tells it where to go. Your car doesn't tell you where to go. Yet a lot of people take our bodies and let our flesh lead us. And so, man, that donut looks great, right? Oh, that all that sugar sounds great, and that sugar is awesome, and it tastes great. But guess what? Are you driving? Are you driving the ship, or is your ship driving you? And I think the Bible is really pretty clear when you start researching that they want us, the Lord wants you to take care of your temple. And if we are to take care of our temple, I think one of the things that I'm really passionate about is the best gift you can give someone else is your health, because you can't help them, or you can't help society in any significant way if you don't have your health. So if you have your health, then you can be that, the spouse that you need to be. You can be the dad that you're supposed to be. You can be the brother you're supposed to be. You can be the helper that you're supposed to be. You can be the change agent to the world that needs you, if you have your health. If you don't have your health, then you can't do any of that. Right. So I think it's really, really important as us as people of faith that we need to learn how to take control of our temple. So I literally have been digging into a lot of different health issues and health practitioners and reasons to do things right. Like water is so important, right? I had no idea how important water was. I had no idea how important grounding was. That's a joke I always tell people, because my wife used to tell me about grounding, and I would laugh at her. I'm like, come on, give me a break. I'm not going to go out and put my feet on the ground. That's stupid, right? I thought that. Then the more I did research on grounding, it's like how important our body, the electrical impulses in our body, and how grounding clears out your body and helps it, just by getting your feet on the ground. It's like, who knew, right? So I didn't. I thought it was a joke, and now I know how important grounding is. How get vitamin D. You get good vitamin D into your body. So you combine these four things. You combine water. You get good hydration in your body. You do grounding occasionally, hopefully, every day if you can. And you do breathing techniques. These breathing techniques can literally elongate your life by years just by doing breathing exercises. And you get vitamin D, you get sun on your body. And you can do the first 45 minutes of the day are amazing. It's called blue light. And that blue light is just incredibly good for your body. And so you start combining those things. You don't need, any supplementation, right? For any supplement, you can just be very healthy that way and get out and exercise, get out and walk, right? And do something. And you combine those four things, and you're going to be much better off. But then guess what? You have issues. We have an all natural health product that's really going to make a dramatic help to get you where you need to be. But then just start doing those things, right? Get water, get some sun, get some exercise, ground, and do some breath work. I guess those 5 things are the things that I would recommend to people.
And what would you say to someone that looked at everything that you're doing and here's what you just said and would come to the conclusion, oh, look, here's some other guy with a supplement. He's exploiting people's faith and exploiting
Yeah.
religion and just trying to make money based off that with these claims of like, what would you say to those kind of people? Because surely they're out there.
Oh yeah, of course they're out there, and that's fine, right? Then I don't have an answer to those people other than that I know I'm here to help people, whether or not you take my supplement or not. Go do those other 5 things that are absolutely free, right? Go drink water, go get the vitamin D on your body, do breathing exercises, go do grounding, and you do those 5 things. You don't need to take anything, right? Don't listen to me for anything other than that. But I dare you to go research those 5 things and tell me that they're bad, and then you say, maybe this guy isn't as crazy as he sounds, and then geez, let's look into this hydrogen thing. Then go do your own. That's one of the most awesome things that I found out through this whole process of the medical cartel and the research that I did is just don't believe me about anything. Do your own research, right? Do your own research. Take what I've given you, the information I've given you, and then go check it against other resources and validate it. And then guess what? You're going to start finding things and you're going to say, oh, wow, okay, maybe this article says molecular hydrogen's bad for you. I haven't seen that article, but there's probably one out there, or CNN will probably write one about it anyway, right? So, but do your own research on everything. Don't believe me. But at the same point, once you start realizing that people that are telling you good things and that have your best interest at heart, then you start trusting them a little bit, and then you start researching some of the things, and you're like, man, everything that guy told me was absolutely spot on. And I'm not saying I'm telling you everything that's spot on, but I'm just saying that's what I've done personally. I've done, like I told the grounding thing, I thought that was stupid, right? So I went and did my own research, and guess what? I found out grounding is very important, and the reasons why are important. So, all the things that I'm telling you, we're just here to help people. And if you think I'm exploiting anybody or anything, I take it back and 100% and turn it on its head. I'm here to build a business, and I want to use the resources that I'm gaining to make an impact on the world, because I'm not going to be like that person you mentioned earlier who's going to sit on the couch and pray about something to help the world. I'm going to actually do something about it. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to create a job for people. I'm going to create positions for people. I'm going to create an income for people, and then I'm going to benefit the kingdom through the things that we're doing to give back. We're giving, I haven't even mentioned this, but right, we're literally giving back $2 for every bottle we sell into organizations that are having a positive impact on the world, right? But did I ever mention that? Right, I didn't mention that at all, because it's not. I don't think it's important for people to understand that, and the respect that that's just our heart. Our heart is to give back. Our heart is to help people. And if you think I'm doing this for personal gains, right, you're just wrong. And I'm out to help people, because the best gift you can give anybody is your health. And I've got an amazing way for you to get there. So
That's
join
beautiful.
me if you're interested.
And so, Rob, how does someone join you? How does someone take a look at what you have going on? Where do people find your show? Where do people find Exodus? What else you got going on? Where can people
Sounds
find you,
good.
Rob?
Pretty easy to follow, right? You look at Exodus, exodusstrong.com. So that's the website. So you look at here's a brochure. This shows you Exodus, right? But exodusstrong.com is the website. And then if you use a coupon code, in fact, in this episode, you'll have a link for that Zachary has that you can use, and you'll get access to Exodus Strong that way. And then you will get a benefit by doing that. But then just when you're on the site, you can also use a coupon code Zachary, and check out using that, and give you a couple dollars off of the product. But the great thing about it is we have, like, if you do a ship, an auto ship, right, we give you a dramatic discount just by doing that. So exodusstrong.com is the best way to find me. And then the I Am Pain Free podcast is fun. I interview awesome people like Zachary, right? And we had a great conversation just last week. So that was really fun. He was on the latest episode of the I Am Pain Free podcast. You can find that on Rumble, and you can find that on Spotify and all the places that podcasts are distributed. So those are probably the two best ways: is the IamPainFree.com website, as well as the Exodus Strong website, the best ways to find me.
Love it. Love that you're on Rumble. I love that it's one of the primary ones that you mentioned. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to Rumble and the team there for creating a platform that values free speech and allows us to get our positive and godly messages out there. So shout out to Rumble. I imagine I'll be kicked off YouTube at some point, but until then, I'm going to be there as well as Rumble. Rob,
like on your episode specifically, right? We literally had to remove some really key topics that we talked about, right? Just in order to get it on that platform. But what's interesting I call her the poor woman, right? The poor woman who was the CEO of that organization has recently died, right? She recently passed away. So like I was mentioned earlier, I don't wish ill will on others. But it's just too bad that she was in charge of that organization. It's just doing a ton of censorship on good topics and good people, and it's frustrating when you see that. But man, you start looking at peel that onion open and look at how nefarious our overall media is, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. So
absolutely, that's a whole subject matter in itself. And the irony is, I don't want to say it's comedic, but it just is the way of the world. The sheer here someone was the CEO of an organization that censors holistic cancer healing information, such as that we have at Beat Cancer. We get videos taken down as quickly as we put them up, and perhaps it would have been in her best interest to take a look at that information instead of just deleting it. So, we reap what we sow in life, and hopefully her soul is where it's meant to be. But that is what it is on that person.
Like we talked about, that's not my place to judge. I know she got judged when she passed away, so that's more power to her.
Absolutely. Rob, is there any particular last thoughts that you would like to leave our audience off with?
I would just, if you don't mind, I'd love to just end with a quick prayer. I think that a lot of times people don't get prayer, and I'd like to just say a quick prayer for people that are listening to the show. So if you don't mind, I'd like to end with a quick prayer.
Please.
You okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, dear Lord, thank you so much for everybody listening today. So just please bless them today. Please let them understand that we have a big heart for them specifically, and that there are lots of things in this world that are just hard to understand. Everybody has a different situation. Everybody is going through life in our own time, in our own way, in our own surroundings. And you've given us breath today. Today we can breathe, and you have given us that for a reason. So in my humble opinion, you have a plan for us because we do have breath today, and we have a decision to make where we can use that for good, or we can just stay where we are and not improve. But I believe that you have our best will and interest at heart, and I believe that you can do wonderful things with everybody. So everybody's listening to this, they can come away from this just with an eye-opening aspiration that I can do something better. I can be better. I can do good. I can do well. I can be healthy, and I can help other people be healthy. And I can do things that are super simple and free. I can go, get sun. I can go ground. I can, get start drinking the right water and enough water, and the filtered water. Make sure you drink filtered water, right? They're poisoning a lot of our things. So just be cognizant of what you're doing and just pray about it. I just want to pray for everybody that they will at least investigate things of faith If they are not interested, then understand. But if they are interested and want to seek me, I'd love to help them have that conversation and discussion. But just pray for Zachary and everything he's doing to beat cancer, and everything that organization is doing. Just please bless all those people that are just making a huge difference in this world by helping people with this nasty problem and issue that's going on because of all the poisoning that's happening in the world. That beatcancer.org is just making a big difference, and just please bless them supernaturally that the messages that get censored just all of a sudden get opened up in a new way. That many people get to hear that message and see that message, and please bless the people who are getting trained to train others that they can make a huge difference in this world. So with that, thank you, Lord, for everything you've done for us. These are things to say in the wonderful name of Jesus. Amen.
Rob, thank you very much for that prayer. And thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless.